To 100% Binding of Isaac, I will have to go on a journey that will change my life forever. With over 640 achievements to get, 34 different characters to learn and master, an endless amount of items, levels, bosses, and synergies, and a recording timeline of almost 1 full year. This is my 420-hour journey on how I 100%ed Binding of Isaac, also known as achieving a Dead God save file. So let's go back to the very beginning of the first episode on my second channel, posted almost 1 year ago. I was on a fresh save file with not a lot of characters unlocked, and with the entirety of the game ahead of us, we start a brand new run on hard difficulty. You have no idea what to expect from Binding of Isaac. The basic gameplay loop is that every single floor you spawn in, and your job is to find the boss room and kill the boss. Along the way, you can find other challenges in rooms, some enemies that want to kill you, and get some items, some power-ups, some little thingies, just to help make your experience a little bit easier. But at the end of the day, your goal is to kill the boss. The way that you can get some brand new items is finding the item rooms or shop rooms, and in these rooms are things that you can pick up. More often than not, I am probably going to have footage of pre-update stuff, so this is before item descriptions are added, at least internal item descriptions. But just for clarification, I'm playing on an older version. I'm playing just Repentance, not Repentance Plus. But in my first run, we went ahead and defeated the boss immediately and was able to go to the next floor. And this is where the basic gameplay loop of Binding of Isaac kicks in. We will now need to rinse and repeat this cycle of going through separate floors, killing everything in rooms, getting new items to make ourselves stronger, all in the hopes of successfully defeating the boss at every floor. Now, obviously, there's going to be a little bit more nuance, right? Finding items in different item rooms, getting devil deals, angel deals, finding more bosses, expanding the boss pool, unlocking more items. There's so much to do, but for now, we're keeping it a little bit basic. The first concept I want to introduce is devil deals. If you are able to successfully defeat a floor without taking any red heart damage, as you can see in the top left, you have a high chance of getting a devil deal. Devil deals are items that you can exchange for your HP red heart containers. Now, something you guys are going to have to understand is that this is my journey to Dead God, right? My journey to 100%ing this game. So there's going to be a lot of errors, including a lot of deaths along the way. Oh my, well, that's how most Isaac runs go. I should not have taken that devil deal. I will say, I don't remember my mic sounding like a microwave, but hey, at least we keep going. Now, more often than not, if you're getting into Binding of Isaac for the very first time, a lot of your runs are going to look like that. You're going to struggle. You're not going to know what items do, especially if you go into a devil deal. You're going to look at this stuff and you're gonna like, hey, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going to keep testing things out, see what items do, and just keep playing. And honestly, that's perfect. That all leads into one of my biggest points in that Binding of Isaac truly is kind of like Terraria, in the sense that most of the game is not unlocked until you beat a lot of the bosses. What do I mean by that? Well, let's keep going and kind of, I guess, fast forward to the end of this run. When you first start a brand new save file or you're playing for the very first time, the final boss you have to defeat is Mom's Foot. Mom's Foot is the hardest boss that you could fight right now, and it is the end of your journey. But unfortunately for us, I was unable to do it when I first saw her, and so we start a brand new run. The beauty of a roguelike, really. But after enough struggling, after a couple more runs, we had a decent build going, and on half a heart, I was finally able to defeat Mom's Foot and trigger our first of like 19 different endings. Now, I'm gonna be real with you guys. I kind of don't really understand Binding of Isaac lore. I mean, the fact that there's 19 different endings speaks for itself. However, we've unlocked a bunch of brand new things, a bunch of brand new challenges, a bunch of brand new items and whatever stuff, and that's going to be a theme in this video. However, the biggest thing that I wanted to introduce is the addition of mods. Now, obviously, by the time you guys are seeing this video, Repentance Plus has been released, and I'm only been playing on Repentance for this video specifically for my Dead God percentage, but mods completely change how you play this game. In fact, I would say that if you can't have access to mods, you might as well not even play this game. Okay, I'm joking. Obviously, with Repentance Plus adding a bunch of more things, it's a little bit more bearable because, you know, there's like internal item descriptions, but all you have to know is that there's going to be a mod list down in the description. It's all quality of life, and it makes playing Binding of Isaac so much more easier and also more fun. And you'll see what I'm talking about with my brand new run. Let's go into it. So I decided to do a brand new run on Isaac. However, notice that when I enter this item room and I'm about to pick up this item, before we couldn't know what it did. But now, if you look at my top left, there is an item description telling me what it does. Now, obviously, with Repentance Plus, they've added internal item descriptions to do that, but when I was playing on Repentance, just regular Repentance, that was the external item descriptions mod. And even now, today, I still prefer the external item descriptions mod. There's just so much more synergies with it. Like, you know, later down in the future, we'll talk about it. You know, I don't want to complicate things too much right now, but with this item, we're basically able to step up the learning curve of Binding of Isaac. We're able to like figure out what things do, what items do what. Even like going into like sacrifice or curse rooms, like seeing like what the items in there do, what synergies you can do, spin down dice synergies. Okay, I'm making this a little bit too complicated now. But right now, let me be clear in what we're trying to do in Binding of Isaac, especially if you have, you don't know anything about Binding of Isaac. My goal right now is to unlock all of the later bosses in the game. Right now, the final boss that we can fight was Mom's Foot, and after several times of defeating it successfully, you will be able to unlock the later halves of the game. And when I'm telling you later halves, I'm telling you later halves. If I could describe it in any other way that is the most relatable to my audience, think of it like this. Let's say someone doesn't like Terraria and they're just saying it's too boring, there's not enough content, but you know that they've never beaten Wall of Flesh. You know that there's the entirety of hard mode, that there's Moonlord, that there's modding out there, right? There's so much to do. That is exactly how I feel about Binding of Isaac. Right now, in this stage of the game, I would say we are just before Skeletron. We haven't even unlocked the later bosses, including more items, synergies. Yeah, I'm excited. Anyway, in this run, particularly with Isaac, we make our way through back to Mom's Foot again. However, because we already defeated Mom's Foot and unlocked mods, by the way, that's why we didn't have mods on initially, we now have access to a brand new floor, the Woo. One of the trends you'll start to notice is that as you defeat more bosses, especially main bosses, you'll start unlocking more and more deeper floors, which will theoretically expand the length of a run. So right now, the average run is like 20 to 30 minutes, but eventually, as we continue on, it's gonna start looking more like 30 to 60 minutes, depending on which boss route you take. But now, our current goal is to survive the 2 floors of the Womb and try to make it to Mom's Heart, the next main boss. The Womb is a very terrifying place. One of the things is not only are the enemies stronger and scarier, but they also do double damage. Before, you were probably taking half a heart of damage, but now on this floor, most of the time, you'll be taking 1 heart of damage. But at the very end of it, we meet Mom's Heart, a very projectile-heavy boss with multiple phases, and you have to kill basically a lot of the enemies. However, I've had a decent amount of experience with this boss. I know this is like the beginning of my Dead God journey, but I had a couple of runs on like different accounts where it never really got anywhere, but because of that, I was pretty familiar with this boss. But with our current build, we're able to successfully defeat Mom's Heart and hop into the chest to trigger one of the other endings. And with that being said, that is our second ending out of the whole slew of however many endings there are, as well as unlocking a bunch of other stuff, including a brand new character called Eden. Now, Eden is a character that we're not going to touch until later on the playthrough, but all you have to know is that that's like a very randomized character. Every run you do with them is it's all random. The stats are random. You spawn with a random item, I believe. It's really cool, but for now, we're not going to touch that. We are going to be instead worried about our sticky note. Our sticky note, if you look in the top left, has a brand new heart marker. That heart represents the fact that we killed on Isaac. When we played as Isaac, we killed Mom's Heart. And eventually down the line, we need to fill out this entire sticky note with all of the main bosses on every single character in order to unlock the 100% of this game. But yeah, this game gets really, really hard, and although I'm willing to endure it, maybe you don't have to. Let me introduce you to today's sponsor, Wand. Wand lets you customize single-player PC games instantly, and it's absolutely perfect for getting past frustrating sections in your favorite game. Maybe you're like me, and you're playing through Binding of Isaac, and I don't know, maybe you don't want to spend like 200 hours unlocking something. Well, with Wand, that's a piece of cake. Wand enhances how you play, allowing you to skip grindy or hard parts of a game, so you can just focus on what you really want to do in the game. Maybe you're like me, or anyone else in the world, and there's just like other things you want to do in the day, and you just don't want to grind the same challenge over and over again. But Wand isn't just limited to those features. Wand includes gameplay assistance and guides with an in-game overlay, meaning that there's no alt-tabbing needed when you're stuck. And as someone that's more casually gaming nowadays, that's one of my favorite things. Because believe it or not, I just sometimes want to have fun in my games. And with Wand, you can do what you want, when you want. But hey, maybe you don't play Binding of Isaac, that's alright. There's so many other games on Wand that they support. And what's even better is that Wand is a super easy one-click setup. With smart game detection, it'll find all of your installed games automatically. And with a super clean and easy UI, it is so unbelievably intuitive to use. Like I said, I love using Wand for games that I've already beaten before. But sometimes my favorite parts of games are at the very end, the final boss. And sometimes I want to redo it or re-experience that. Or maybe I just want to go straight into New Game Plus on any game that I want and just turn off my brain after a long day of work. And what's awesome is Black Friday is coming upon us. And Wand is also having their own sale from November 24th to December 1st. They're offering 25% off of their annual pro subscription. This is the lowest price that they offer all year round, and it's the best time to unlock the full Wand experience. But yeah, check out Wand using my link in the description or by using promo code WANDBF25. Wand is free, it'll support the channel, and it will completely transform how you play your favorite games. I've worked with Wand before, and I used Wand for a lot of ideas on this channel. It's an absolute game changer for single player games, which is really what I only play on this channel anyway. And as a gamer, I absolutely love it, but also as a content creator, I love it. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking out Wand. It always helps me out whenever you guys check out the sponsor of my video, so thanks to you guys as well. And yeah, let's get back to Binding of Isaac. However, just to keep things a little bit different, let's showcase a different character. I'd say one of the strongest and easiest characters to first pick up to get yourselves into Binding of Isaac, and that is Azazel. Azazel is one of the best characters characters in the game simply for two reasons. Number one, he has a mini brimstone that he can do. Number two, he can literally fly. Now, just to keep things on track, because hey, this is a 100% video, dead guy type of thing. We're gonna have to unlock everything, right? The basic idea behind this game and the basic idea of our progression is that we're eventually going to have to play every single character and defeat every single like main boss with them to fill out our sticky note. And so it's pretty imperative to learn what all these other different characters do. In this run specifically, we unlock the Book of Revelations. I believe you just have to kill a horseman to do that, I think. But that's a very powerful item that's going to be added into our collection. And you'll notice that throughout these several, like, I guess, beginner episodes, a lot of the bosses we kill, a lot of enemies, a lot of challenges we do, a lot of characters that we kill bosses with, they're going to be giving us a bunch of unlocks. Now, to be perfectly honest, I am not going to track every single one. All you have to know is that when you beat the game, when you unlock a bunch of these brand new items and defeat main bosses with these characters, you will naturally just unlock everything because of the sheer amount of hours you'll be putting into this game. But right now, we're not even worried about unlocking everything. We're just worried about unlocking specifically the bosses, right? Like, I guess another way to put it is we are trying to unlock the base blueprint of the game to unlock every boss, to take any route that we want to, and then and only then will we start unlocking different characters and start going for like their specific things that they have to add them into the item pool to make our future runs easier. I hope I explained that well. But just for like another example, during this run we unlocked these things. Like, I don't understand what that meant, right? But also we ended up unlocking a brand new character, Samson. Now everything, like I said, you can search up on how to unlock it specifically, but more often than not, if you're just playing the game, if you're just spending about a couple of days doing some runs, you're going to unlock everything that I'm unlocking. However, all of the more specific things we will go into later. Now on this floor specifically, we find ourselves at a bedroom. What's really cool about bedrooms is that you can actually sleep on them to get 2 soul hearts, or 2, you know, whatever hearts you are, or it refills all of your red hearts. But what's also really cool is that you can actually bomb this carpet in the middle of the room for a crawl space. Crawl spaces, we'll get into them later, but the idea of a crawl space is that it has a ladder. Trapdoors that have ladders means you can go down underneath and then crawl back up, hence the ladder. Whereas if it's like a regular trapdoor with no ladder, it's like going to the next floor. But in trapdoors specifically, or crawl spaces, you can find an item in there. The format of it is a little bit different, but this is just something nice to know. Something else we're doing at the same time is we are trying to upgrade our store. Every single floor has a shop and an item room, and in the shop there's a donation machine. You can donate the coins that you get into the machine to try and upgrade it to unlock better shops. But most importantly, we need to unlock a brand new character and a game mode with it. So that is why we are trying to max out our shop. So there's a lot of things that we're kind of worrying about. We're trying to kill as much bosses, unlock the full game. We're trying to unlock multiple characters. We're trying to fill out the shop's donation machine. But in this run specifically, we unlock something a little bit different. Instead of getting a devil deal, we get an angel deal. Now, what's the difference, Adrian? Oh, what's going on? Adrian, what? God's in Binding of Isaac? The difference between angel deals and devil deals is that you can kind of think of it as you get a devil deal first, and if you don't take it, you can get an angel deal. Angel deals, instead of, you know, costing HP, you instead get a different item pool with no HP loss. Now, you're probably asking, Adrian, why wouldn't you just take angel deals? They sound better. Well, initially upfront on a brand new save file, angel deals are actually not that good. There's just not enough good things in the angel room pool to justify, you know, going for them and foregoing a devil deal. More often than not, I think a good rule of thumb is devil deals are really good for damage. If you're struggling with damage, especially early on, like, go take a devil deal. They will boost it up in exchange for HP. And damage is like your #1 defense. Like, if you can kill everything immediately, who cares if you only have 1 HP? Whereas angel deals right now are more for survivability. And later down the line, there, you know, of course, will be better items. But for now, that is the general consensus that I'm going with. And since I'm playing Azazel and I don't really have a lot of HP and I can't really trade HP for damage ups, I decided to go for angel deals. However, this run was very special in particular. I was just really aiming to just kill Mom's Heart and unlock the next stage of the game, which will be unlocked when you kill Mom's Heart, I think about like 9 times. But something unique ended up happening. I was able to kill Mom's Heart and get an angel deal. Now, why is this really important? Well, in the angel deal, you can actually go ahead and go to the next stage of the game, or at least early on. Now, this is a concept that I'll get into more later, but if you're able to get a devil deal or an angel deal during the final boss, or at least during Mom's Heart, you can go to the next floor. In this case specifically, we were able to go into Cathedral, which is the next stage of the game. Now, eventually, you won't have to rely on getting angel deals all the time, but just know that on this floor, you fight another boss, Isaac himself. And Isaac is a pretty fun fight. It's a very bullet hell heavy boss. However, if you're able to get past his first phase, his second phase is really easy. You just have to watch these like beams of light by just looking at the floor and looking at its shadows, and beyond that, you're able to successfully defeat him and hop in the chest to trigger another ending. And just from that one run alone, we're able to get Mom's Heart. We're also able to get 2 other symbols. One, the cross for defeating Isaac in the cathedral, but also a star. And that's something that I actually skipped over on purpose, which we'll get into later. Now, to keep things on the same page, I'm going to show you guys a run on Eden, which is a different character. However, on this run, I was able to defeat Mom's Heart, but instead of getting the angel deal, I got the opposite. I got a devil deal. And because of that, we're able to go into Shoal, which is kind of the equivalent to Cathedral. But instead of fighting Isaac in here, you're fighting a slightly different boss. Adrian, maybe you're fighting Azazel? Kind of. You're fighting Satan. Now, Satan is a pretty interesting boss fight. He has about like 3 to 4 phases depending on how you look at it. But if you're able to watch out for like those exploding things and kill his hooves, you're able to defeat Satan and get another ending. However, at this point in the game, I was having a lot of fun, so I didn't stop there. I went ahead and started a brand new run on Judas, which is a completely different character, and I'll go into that later, and also Lazarus. And I basically just started doing runs. Like at this point in the game, you should be able to be more familiar with how the gameplay loop goes. You're killing bosses, trying to conserve your, your HP, your red heart HP to make devil deals or angel deals. And then at the very end of it, you should be able to fight Mom's Heart and successfully defeat it. But my point right now is I needed to do this to unlock the next stage of the game. And we're almost there. We just have to kill Mom's Heart a couple more times. And so I started a brand new run on one of my favorite characters, Cain. Cain is a rather fun character as he spawns with something called the Lucky Foot. When you're playing as Cain, one of the big things that you want to do compared to any other character is to take pills. You see, pills are items in the game that usually either have a negative effect or a positive effect. Now, I believe it is slightly more positive. However, Cain is able to turn all of the pills into good effects most of the time, depending on how you see it. Cain is also a character that incentivizes gambling slot machines. I don't believe his luck stat affects that, but I think he should be luckier when he gambles. I don't know. I never really did that. Now, it is important to note that early on in the game, whenever you are playing different characters, more often than not, it should kind of feel like you're still playing Isaac. Like, yes, Cain has increased luck, or he spawns with the luck foot, or the rabbit's foot, whatever it's called, or Magdalene has more HP. More often than not, these characters feel pretty much the same. Like, their core mechanics are pretty similar. Well, at least for now. Now, at this point in the game, I was feeling pretty much well acclimated. I was doing runs really fast, and at this point in the game, I was about to fight Mom's Foot with about 16 minutes on the clock, and this is where things get really spicy. Now, like I said before, on the sticky note of killing specific bosses, one of the things that you have to do is you have to kill something called the boss rush. In order to activate the boss rush, you need to kill Mom's Foot with under 20 minutes on the clock, and when you do, there's going to be a door that opens up in this room. Entering the boss rush allows you to see 4 different items that you can pick. Obviously, it changes every single time, but when you pick up this item, it will trigger a boss rush where you have to fight 15 different waves of different bosses. Now, more often than not, you might be asking yourself, especially if you're newer to the game, why would you ever do that? Why would you ever want to put yourself through that? And actually, you kind of do. If you can handle it, if you, let's say, have a strong active item. For example, in this run, I have Book of Revelations, where every 6 charges, I can just give myself a free soul heart, or if your damage is good enough, or let's say the boss room item is really good, then yes, it's pretty much worth it, especially if you're, running out of DPS and you need a little boost. But afterwards, we're able to successfully defeat the boss rush and get a brand new item from that as well. And with that, now for Cain, we have the boss rush sticky note. But right now, I still kind of have a little bit of an ulterior motive, right? I know before I said I was trying to defeat like It Lives or Mom's Heart, but there's another thing that you can do. If you are able to defeat it by 30 minutes time, yes, you can get the devil room or an angel deal to go into Sheol or Cathedral, but if you do it before 30 minutes, you get an extra door. And this door leads to another boss called Hush. Hush is another boss that we need to kill in order to get their sticky note little sticker thing. And in the room before you fight Hush, you'll find yourself face to face with 2 item rooms and a shop and 4 golden chests. This is kind of like a little buffer, a little bit of, a little bit of extra power before you fight Hush, because Hush, in my opinion, is a little bit more tanky than usual. Hush first starts off in this little baby form. Well, a couple of projectiles, a little bit of flies, a little bit of flying around, decent damage, but honestly, nothing too crazy. Like, you could pretty much kind of wipe him. However, once you defeat that phase, then the real Hush wakes up. And this one can be quite a doozy if you're not prepared for it. This boss fight is an actual projectile hell. If you do not have enough damage, if you do not have survivability, honestly, you're probably going to die a couple of times. But luckily for us, my run was pretty decent. I had some good stuff. I was able to basically just proc some soul hearts pretty often. And because of that, we're able to defeat Hush and add another marker to Cain. This now spawns another golden chest for another ending that we have under our belt. And I'm not sure if you can kind of see it now, but you'll notice that there's a lot more routes we can take. Now, not only can we go into Sheol or Cathedral after defeating Mom's Heart or It Lives, but we can also now have this other route where we can fight Hush now. And if you look at our Cain sticky note, as you can see, we have the heart from killing Mom's Heart. In this run, we did a Sheol run, we did a boss rush run, and then also we have Hush's mark, making 4 marks or 4 little sticky note things for Cain. But this is just the beginning, because as we unlock more characters, we'll need to fight every single boss again on those characters and fill out their entire sticky note. And believe it or not, we haven't even unlocked all of the sticky note bosses yet. Now here's where things get a little bit more fun. I'm playing Isaac right now, but if you look in the top left corner, we have a brand new item that we spawn with, and that is one of the best items in the game, AD6. You see, if you beat Cathedral level, which is the one where you fight Isaac at the end, with a character called Blue Baby, then you're able to unlock the D6 for Isaac to spawn with. Now, my plan obviously is to go, more in depth with all of the other characters that I talked about, but all you have to know is for now, most of the characters are kind of like Isaac. As soon as I unlock them, I usually just start playing them, and as you go through the game and defeat more runs, you just kind of just start unlocking most of these folks anyway. But in this run peculiar, I wanted to show something super duper important, and that is the concept of the negative and the Polaroid right here on the ground, as you can see right now. These two items specifically spawn when you beat Cathedral and Shoal 5 times. So for example, the Polaroid, the one on the left, which is the white one, it'll spawn after you defeat Cathedral 5 times, and the negative, conversely, if you beat Shoal 5 times. And the reason why you want to do that is because, let's say you beat Mom's Heart or It Lives, and you want to go down into Shoal or Cathedral. Well, now, if you have the negative or the Polaroid, depending on where you go into, you can continue that path. So for example, in this run, I took the negative. I went down into Shoal. I died, unfortunately, but let's do it again. Because I have the negative, after you defeat Satan, instead of going into the chest and considering and starting another ending, because I have the negative, instead of going into the chest and ending the game, it actually puts me into the next level, the Dark Room. And on this floor, you can fight a boss called the Lamb. Now, if that sounds confusing, all you gotta know is that, like I said, there's a lot of sticky note bosses in the game. There's gonna be an infographic later on in the video that I'm gonna pop up. But after you defeat the Lamb, we're able to get another little sticky note sticker, as well as getting another achievement, as well as a screen called, would you like to do a victory lap? Which we're gonna say no to. But because of that, instead of actually going into the chest, I decided to fight another boss. You'll notice that there's this big golden door that you can enter. Now, the way that you get access to this door is you have to bomb 2 little angels in angel deal rooms with a bomb to get 2 pieces of a key to open this door, which I'll get into later. But the idea is that you're able to open up this door and fight another boss, Mega Satan. And I guess now it's like, oh my god, Adrian, there's so many bosses. Like, what do I even do? Well, I'll show you a little infographic. This is what the game is going to look like as we continue, and we're not even done. But in this run specifically, I was able to defeat Mega Satan, getting another mark, when all of a sudden I get a delirium portal. So yes, I know it's getting really complicated now, so I'm gonna take a little breather right now and explain this infographic right here. So I tried my best to explain it as I went, but obviously we're kind of at the point in the game where things are just going to be overlapping on top of each other. However, let's look at this infographic. As you can see just from the top, the first boss that you have access to is Mom's Foot, and eventually you'll have access to Mom's Heart. And looking on the left and looking on the right, you'll notice that we've already kind of fought those bosses. For example, It Lives, which is basically just another version of Mom's Heart. Underneath it, you could fight Satan or Isaac in Shoal and Cathedral, and eventually when you get the Polaroid and negative, like I said, there's going to be bosses underneath of it. In this case, I've showcased the Lamb, but the other one is Blue Baby, until eventually you can get Angel Room key pieces to unlock Mega Satan. I know I've briefly covered over it. If you guys want more information, you guys can search up an actual guide. I'm trying to explain it as I go with my run and my dead god progression, and it's kind of hard to explain 2 hours of studying off camera, but hey, this is how I learned. I learned through this infographic here, buddy. Now, the only thing that I've kind of explained on the right side is Hush. I said that if you can defeat Mom's Heart within 30 minutes, you get access to the Hush door, but you'll notice that there's 2 little alternating paths from it, Delirium and Mother, which I will get into kind of right now, actually. So the way that you unlock Delirium, it's a little bit iffy. I believe you have to kill Hush 3 or 5 times, but the idea is that you can fight Delirium through a Delirium portal. Now, the only way for a Delirium portal to 100% spawn is if you defeat Hush and go through the back door. That is 100% how you can get a Delirium portal to spawn. However, if you defeat Mega Satan, Lamb, It Lives, there is a small percentage chance that it can actually spawn at any moment of those times, with the highest chance being during Mega Satan. There is a 50-50% chance, but if you want the 100%, you do a Hush route. Delirium is actually one of the stickers that you need for the sticky note, and Delirium is a rather interesting boss fight because his floor is called the Void, and every single room is kind of like a mishmash hodgepodge of all of the other levels from before. When you finally get to the Delirium boss room, you'll notice that it's a 2x2, and Delirium takes kind of the form of several different boss fights. He's alternating through all of them, using kind of their abilities, but slightly faster. Slightly a little bit more scary, if I'm not mistaken. Delirium is a absolute brutal boss fight. I would consider him one of the more final bosses of Binding of Isaac. Yes, the Lamb, Mom's Heart and Mom's Foot are kind of some of them, but they're in the middle. Delirium is one of the ones at the end. I would say one of the 4. But in this run specifically, I was able to defeat Delirium, and hopping into the chest, we're able to trigger another one of the 19 to 20, 21 endings. There's just too much, really. But because of all of that, we're able to actually look at our Isaac sticky note now, and now you can see that it's bloodied, as well as we have the Polaroid, the negative, and we have the Mega Satan completion mark, and the bloody sticky note, which is what you get for defeating Delirium. Now, for my next run, or my next magic trick, I decided to do a run with Bethany. Bethany is a character that spawns with the Book of Revelations and cannot use soul hearts or black hearts. The way that you unlock Bethany is, I believe, you have to defeat Mom's Heart without dying in hard mode, or with Lazarus, I believe, in hard mode. But for simplicity's sake, I want to talk about the bosses because I feel like it's something that's going to be, really confusing, especially if I don't go over it properly, and even a lot of other videos don't really go over it too well. I know I'm not doing it too well, but basically, basically, just to keep things simple, in most of our runs, we are aiming for a specific amount of bosses, and ideally, we are trying to kill either Mega Satan, Hush, and for now, that is it. There's 2 more super bosses, or like 2 more final bosses, which is Mother and Beast, but I'm not gonna get into that just yet because I don't want to like make things way more complicated. But just know that on the way of defeating Mega Satan or on the way of defeating Hush, we'll start fighting Delirium, or we'll start fighting, you know, Lamb, Blue Baby, etc. Now, in this one in particular, I'm showing you how you can actually fight Mega Satan. The way that you do it is that you have to bomb these angel statues in angel rooms, and when you kill them, they drop something called a key piece. You need 2 of these key pieces, meaning you have to bomb 2 angel room statues in order to get the full key to open the door down in the chest floor to open up to Mega Satan. That is the entire full way, you know, the most common way to do it. You can go into sacrifice rooms and do the same thing, but this is the most common way that I did to try and get the Mega Satan completion mark done. And during this run in particular, I ended up going the Polaroid route to kill Blue Baby on the chest floor. I didn't go inside of its chest, and because I had both of the key pieces to then fight Mega Satan, I was then able to go into the boss room to get the Mega Satan completion mark. Now, at this point in the game, I've unlocked a couple of the characters. I've unlocked most of them. More often than not, these characters are, you know, you should be able to unlock them just from playing normally. But before I go into like the intricacies of the different characters, I want to cover one of the other boss routes that you can take, the Mother route. So far, we've covered Mega Satan, where you have to bomb the angel rooms to get the key pieces and then going to chest to fight Mega Satan. I also covered slightly like with Hush and like the Delirium portals. I talked about how in the Delirium portals, you know, there's a chance for it to spawn at each floor or like after specific bosses, but more often than not, if you want 100% spawn, you just fight Hush. There's 2 more. One of them is Beast and one of them is called Mother route. I'm going to be covering the Mother route because this is one of the most complicated routes in the game. You'll notice that at this point in the game, sometimes when you defeat a floor, there's going to be an extra little door at the very end of the boss room. You can actually enter through this one using a key, this little blue one. Without going too much into it, I'll give you a rough idea of how this Mother route is going to go. Basically, when you go through these alternative floors, there's going to be a couple of tasks that you can do to unlock the Mother boss fight. Specifically on Dross or Downpour, which kind of looks like the sewers, you're going to be looking for this white flame. When you walk into it, you will be turned into the Lost, which is a one-shot, one-kill version of Isaac. From there, you want to find a mirror and enter through it to go into the mirror dimension. Now, you will have to fight your way through the floor while being a one-shot, one-kill. And your goal is to get into the item room on this floor. Inside the item room, you will find a knife piece 1, the first part of the Mother route. Then from here, you're able to go back through the mirror if you want and go back to your regular run. You could also even fight the boss for an extra item if you want. However, you know, this is the first time I was doing the Mother route on my own properly, so I didn't want to do that. The next floor is the mines, and you can get into here by bombing the door with 2 bombs. The mines / ash pit is one of the hardest levels in the game for me personally. The enemies here are super brutal. They do a lot of damage. They're also really scary and tanky. It's just the whole shebang, you know? But your goal here is to find these little pressure plates throughout the floor and turn them all on in order to go on the railroad. On this railroad, you're going to find yourself in a separate room where you lose all of your items and all of your stats. You're just a regular character now. And at the very end, you'll find a knife piece 2. With this knife piece 2, upon picking it up, a dark, disheveled shadow version of Mother will start chasing you, and you need to navigate your way parkour style to escape. If you're not careful, if you're not like smart with how you navigate this, you will die. However, if you actually learn the patterns and like the little tricks of like how Mother moves, then you're kind of fine. Like you can actually really just stand still, let it tackle, and then move slowly. Slow and steady wins the race, and at the very end, you're able to successfully leave. The next alternative floor is Mausoleum / Gehenna. To get into here, you actually have to sacrifice 2 of your hearts, meaning that you should, you know, keep some HP just in case. And in this floor, you'll find that at the very end, you'll be fighting a slightly buffed version of Mom's Foot, where like the lasers are doing like spaghetti-o noodle movements, like things are a little bit just more complicated, right? But if you're able to successfully defeat this version of Mother's Foot, you'll notice that on the left, there is one final alternative door, a flesh door. And with your knife, if you point it in that direction, it opens it up. When you go through, you now have to fight a slightly stronger version of Mom's Heart. And when you are able to defeat it, going back out through the door and going onto the next floor opens the final floor for this Mother route. Corpse. And if you're able to successfully fight your way through Corpse, you'll find yourself at the final boss room against Mother. One of the hardest boss fights in the game, personally for me. Mother is so, not even just tanky, just brutal. The projectiles are super annoying. It is so tough to choreograph or read sometimes, and even after the first phase, there is, well, a second phase. During this phase, there's going to be a lot of projectiles, and I mean a lot, and especially if this is your first time playing, wow, it's going to be pretty bad. But luckily for me, during this run, I was barely able to make it by the skin of my teeth because I had wafer. So basically I had double HP. But with Mother being defeated, that is another ending. And with that being said, that is the Mother route, one of the other final bosses and one of the harder completion marks to get. Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm kind of tired. Okay, I'm genuinely feeling a little bit flabbergasted going over all these routes, and I understand how confusing it is to see it from like an outside perspective as someone that never played the game before. But I'm telling you, if you don't understand what I'm talking about, feel free to just watch a guide video. I know I'm not really good at explaining. However, I do want to talk about the final route that I have not talked about yet, and that is the Beast route. And in order to explain it, we're gonna be playing on Bethany. Yay! The Beast route, like any other route, is actually pretty tame. It kind of goes the same as any other route, like normal. Actually, yeah, I am right. Well, at least until you get to the floor where Mom's foot is there. You'll notice that there's now a brand new door with a little empty little square that you can put something into probably. The way that you trigger and go onto the Beast route is that after you defeat Mom's foot, you're able to pick the Polaroid or the negative. Like if you want to go into Shoal or if you want to go into Cathedral, well, yeah, you pick which one you want. However, if you actually teleport out and use the Polaroid / negative on this door, you're able to go into an alternative floor. Now, when you go through this floor and you're able to make it to the boss room, you'll notice that there's actually not a boss in that room. There is an item, Dad's Note. Now, for those that have never done this before, I highly recommend dropping your trinket right now. Now, on controller for me it was RT or right trigger, but there's a reason why. Okay, we're gonna do a double whammy in today's little tutorial episode, kind of whatever. When you drop a trinket in this room and pick up Dad's Note now triggers something called the Ascension, where now we're going up floors rather than down, and any trinkets that you had will now turn into a cracked key. This is very important for a little bit later down the line, but just know you want to have it in your little back pocket. Now, during the Beast route, or we are officially on the Beast route, we will now be going through all of the past floors that we already went through. However, we are going up. We're ascending, baby. We're going up all the way until the first room where we spawned in. Or now, if we go up from this room, well, we find ourselves in the bedroom, the home of Isaac. In here, you can sleep in the bed to recover any HP. However, you can get some loot in this little chest and go on down and make your way through this closet if you want, and also go through the living room. However, in this room right here, you'll notice that there's a little bit of a red door on your left before you enter here. And so with this cracked key, you're able to open it and find a tainted version of your character inside, unlocking your tainted character, which in our case was Bethany. We have now unlocked tainted Bethany, and that is a whole other like mashed potato bag that we'll get into later. However, for now, let's talk about the Beast route. Okay, let's talk about the Beast route. The next thing you want to do is you want to sleep in your bed, which will trigger the Dogma boss fight when you enter out in the living room. Dogma is going to be the first boss out of many that you will have to defeat, and the first phase is you have to destroy the TV. After doing so, it will trigger Dogma to go into like a flying angelic laser mode, and upon successfully killing it, you're able to trigger a cutscene to start the Beast fight. Now, like I said, I still don't really understand Binding of Isaac lore, but all you have to know is that during this cutscene, Dogma like combines with Isaac, and Isaac grows wings, and now with these wings, he's able to ascend and fly and defeat or fight one of the upcoming bosses, the Beast. But before you fight the Beast, you have to fight his little minions, which I believe are like the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, but like in boss fight form. Now, during this boss fight, it's kind of rough. These 4 little horsemen fellows are pretty tough on their own. I think if you have decent damage, you can kind of squiggy on by them, but they're basically buffed versions of the horsemen that you fight in the other floors, except they're tankier, their attacks are a little bit more wonkier, and overall, you might have a little bit of a bad time. Luckily for me, I'm good at this game right now, except I died. Yeah. But hey, to be honest, that's what's to be expected in a Binding of Isaac run as a roguelike, right? And so I came in with a better build and destroyed the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse and fought the Beast. The Beast is a pretty interesting fight. Depending on how you do it, it can be quite tedious. You basically have to like dodge these stalactites and stalagmites and dodge fire, as well as attacking it over and over again. You have to be constantly aware of your surroundings, as the slightest movement can really mess you up. But finally, after a brutal, I don't even know how long it took, we're finally able to defeat the Beast. And thus, with that being said, that should cover every single potential boss route that you want to take, from fighting Mega Satan, from unlocking everything, right? Unlocking everything, then fighting Mega Satan, fighting Delirium through Hush, fighting Mother, and fighting the Beast. And with that being said, as you can see on Isaac, we have a full sticky note, except for one, right? Except for one in greedier mode. We're not going to talk about that, at least not yet. But for now, we have a full sticky note where you fight all of those bosses, but as well as unlocking tainted characters. As you can see right here, like I said, if you do that like closet thing with the beast, you can unlock tainted characters, which is a whole sack of potatoes on their own, but we'll get into that. All you gotta know is that this is the first part of this video. The first part! So yes, I'm sure you guys are probably wondering, Adrian, what do you mean by the first part of the video? What? But yeah, I'm telling the truth. This is the first part of the video. I wanted to talk about how to unlock all of the bosses and all of the boss routes. I know I did a very poor job of that. However, that's not my concern. Simply because this game just has so much content, and that I also just kind of feel like if you just play through it on your own, you will enjoy that. You will learn so much and just have fun on your own. And so with that being said, let's go into the second part of the video, which is how are we going to get this 100%? And what do you mean we have to kill and do all of the sticky note bosses on almost 37 characters? Now first, let's go over the original 17 characters, just like a little quick Cliff Notes version of it, right? First, you have Isaac, the most basic of characters, spawning in with a D6. This D6 allows him to reroll items into different ones, and thus is a very fun and casual pick. Magdalene, kind of a similar version of Isaac, however, this version has slightly more HP, allowing you to take advantage of curse/sacrifice rooms. I never remember what they're called, but because you have a bunch of HP and you have an HP pill, if you complete a challenge, you're able to get and take advantage of your large health pool. Next is Cain, who spawns with slightly above average stats than Isaac, but his main gimmick is that pills are actually mainly always a positive benefit, so you want to gamble and take a lot of pills with him. Judas is like a slightly more higher damage version of Isaac, also spawning in with the Book of Belial, giving you an increased devil chance as well as much more damage at the cost of having 1 HP. Next is Blue Baby, a version of Isaac that only has soul hearts and cannot have red heart containers and spawns with poop. This poop can be destroyed for 1 fly to help damage and help you bridge across gaps. Next is one of my favorite characters, Eve. Eve thrives on having low HP. Whenever you take damage in a room, a little bird will spawn and do some damage, but also you can use the Razor Blade item to forcefully bring your HP down to 1 heart. Eve has Whore of Babylon, meaning if you have less than 1 heart, you're able to trigger it and get more damage and speed. Samson is another version of Isaac, where if you take damage, you're able to increase your damage for the entire floor up to, I believe, 5 times. Next is one of the strongest characters that we've been playing with so far, Azazel, given flight and an immediate small brimstone bullet. With this, you can go into curse/sacrifice rooms, I don't remember what they're called, as well as doing a lot of damage. This is a character that we're going to be using a lot for speed running. Next, we have Lazarus, a version of Isaac that actually thrives on dying. Once per floor, you're able to kill yourself in order to get revived or risen Lazarus, and this version of Lazarus has increased stats, and because you can do this once per floor, it is highly implored to do this so you can build up a bulk of your stats. Next is a fan favorite, Eden. To play Eden, you actually need Eden tokens, which you get from completing successful runs. But while playing Eden, you'll notice that every single time you spawn, your character will have completely different stats, a completely brand new spawning item and trinket, which makes Eden the true randomizer character. Next on the list is Lilith, a summoning character. This character cannot shoot tears, however spawns with a succubus and a box of friends to duplicate your familiars. This is a familiar based class, and the unique thing about Lilith is that as you take more damage, up to I believe 15 times you take damage, you trigger Cambion Conception, which spawns a brand new familiar to add to your team. Next is Apollyon. Apollyon has the Void item, which allows you to trigger on any item to give you stat ups instead of picking up an item. This can also combine active items onto Void, making a very fun character to use. Next is Bethany, who spawns with the Book of Virtues. Bethany cannot pick up soul hearts. Instead, those soul hearts can be used for your active items, and she also does not get a devil deal on the first try, instead an angel deal. And finally, Jacob and Esau, the first character that has 2 characters. You can control them separately, but they have different HP pools and damage stats, and as you'll see later in the video, is one of the harder characters to use. You'll also notice that we're not going over the secret characters, at least not yet. We have more detailed guides on them later, but for now, that's the original 17 characters. But now, there's going to be 17 more characters. Welcome, everybody, to the tainted character part about the game, or I guess the character part about the game. Right now, we're playing Tainted Bethany, who has a really cool item called Lemegaton, but before I even get into Tainted Bethany, I want to talk about what is a tainted character. Well, as we previously discussed, there are regular basic characters in Binding of Isaac. However, if you do the beast route and you get a cracked key and open that closet, you're able to unlock the tainted version of whatever character you're playing. And in that beast run, we were playing Bethany, and when we opened the closet, we unlocked Tainted Bethany. And her special ability is that with her book, she can basically summon any item to have the effects of. So as you can see, I summoned Tech X, and I can use Tech X as an item. The wisp, like that little item thing, can break, but that is how Tainted Bethany is. That's like her little gimmick. And all of these other tainted characters have their own gimmicks. So whereas before every single or most characters were kind of like a small clone of Isaac, we're now entering the part of the game where the characters we're going to start unlocking are not that. They're actually very unique, and sometimes their uniqueness is what makes me want to die. And so in this run in particular, I wanted to cover Tainted Bethany. Tainted Bethany is one of the more fun tainted characters, as Lemegaton is really broken. You're able to basically just create items out of nowhere, and it's super fun. It scales really well. It could go pretty pretty bad sometimes, but I really much enjoy this character. Now, in this run in particular, I did end up dying in the dark room. I was trying to fight Mega Saiyan and the Lamb. However, there's a lot of other tainted characters that I want to go over, and yeah, there's a reason why this video is going to be really long. So that's Tainted Bethany. But what if I told you I didn't even unlock all of the regular base characters in the game? Yes, there's not even just tainted characters, there's secret characters in this game. The first secret character I wanted to unlock was the Forgotten. In order to unlock the Forgotten, you have to clear the first room in under a minute and place a bomb in the starting area to pick up this broken shovel item. And once you have it on, Mom's foot will continuously start stepping on you. Now, your goal is to defeat Boss Rush in order to get the second part of the shovel. And with this, you're able to make the full broken shovel. And now your goal is to get to Dark Room. In the Dark Room, you're able to kind of find a little room that has like a grave. And if you use the shovel there, you're able to dig it up and unlock a brand new character called the Forgotten. This character is the first out of, I think, 3 other secret characters. And the Forgotten is kind of like a little melee guy, which we'll get into in a bit. But just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to go over the base characters before going into the tainted characters. Like I said before, most of the regular characters in Binding of Isaac are basically kind of like a reskin of Isaac, except for a couple. One of them being the Forgotten that we just unlocked. The Forgotten has 2 modes. One is a melee mode, and the other is like a soul mode. These two have separate HP bars, and the soul mode is able to shoot tears, while the bone mode is able to smack. The Forgotten is also able to use his bone mode as a little shield for the like little laser mode, and with that you can do high damage while having a little shield. You can fly around and do like little small things with it, and overall I really do enjoy this character. But I will say it takes some time to get used to, and so I kind of die a couple of times with it. But let's go on to the next secret character that you need to prioritize as soon as possible if you find the missing poster item. The Lost is one of the most fun characters that you can ever play in the Binding of Isaac for a couple of reasons. I'd say it's a little controversial. However, to unlock this item, you need to get the missing poster. It is my advice and the advice of many others to, as soon as you get the missing poster item, drop whatever run you're doing, find a sacrifice room, and kill yourself and unlock the Lost. The Lost is a one-shot, one-kill character that is extremely fun to play. Well, it depends. The Lost is a one-shot, one-kill character. However, you can actually get a free Holy Mantle, which is a free hit per room, if you get a specific amount of coins in the Greedier donation machine. Now, I know that sounds like a completely foreign language, so let's get into it. Let's get into the little game mode that people don't really play in the Binding of Isaac, Greedier mode. Greedier mode is, instead of making Binding of Isaac kind of like a roguelike wave, kill bosses on floors and whatnot, instead it's more of a wave defense game where in one room you're basically getting money to buy more items and to defeat more bosses and enemies. At the very end of it all, at the end of Greedier mode, you can fight Ultra Greed, and upon defeating him, he will drop a donation machine, and your job is to fill up this greed machine with as much coins as possible. For the first reason, if you fill it up enough, you're able to unlock Holy Mantle for the Lost, which actually turns into a playable character, but also you're able to eventually unlock another or the final secret character. After several hours of grinding, I was able to unlock the Holy Mantle for the Lost once I hit about like 879 coins, and with that being said, we're able to have Holy Mantle on the Lost, turning him into a viable character. Now, what does that even mean? Well, let's get into it. The Lost as a character is a one-shot, one-kill, but now we have a Holy Mantle, and with that being said, as long as we just take 1 hit per room, we're fine. Lost also spawns with an Eternal D6, which is kind of like a regular D6. It rerolls items, however, it has a small chance of deleting the item in the room. Now, one of the reasons why the Lost is extremely fun to play is because he basically has a 100% chance of a free devil deal. Because he has no HP, he's able to take a free devil deal, and with the Eternal D6, you can basically re-roll it to see what items you can get. The Lost is a very high skill ceiling character, because since you can't get hit, and since you're able to take more items, it's, I guess, more fun, right? I guess. But the Lost is one of my favorite secret characters in all of Binding of Isaac. It is unbelievably fun to be able to just not get hit and be rewarded for not getting hit and taking a free devil deal. I mean, who doesn't want a free devil deal, baby? And also, since you don't have any HP, like you're one shot, you're always going to get your devil deal chances. Like, you're never going to lose it from your hearts. And furthermore, you are always guaranteed perfection. Perfection is a trinket that drops after, I believe, 3 floors of not taking any damage. And because as the Lost, you're not taking any damage at all, this is a guaranteed drop in your Lost runs. Perfection is one of the best trinkets in the game because that 10 extra luck can help contribute into a lot more damaging effects. In my Lost run, I was also able to pick up 9 lives, which means I had more lives, and even if I did die or take a hit, I'm able to, jump back straight into it. And with that being said, we're able to defeat the Lamb in this run in particular, and thus started my addiction with playing the Lost. I wanted to get the completion marks for the Lost as soon as possible because I had so much fun playing this character. But still, even with the Holy Mantle, some bosses are extremely scary, such as Delirium, who shoots like 10 billion projectiles. And this right here was my Delirium run. Pop it! No! Hey man, I'm not gonna lie, I don't even know why I was playing that music when I was playing, but also, I will say, I was clenching my butt. But hey, those are like the best runs in Binding of Isaac, especially when you're filling out your completion marks and just getting those runs where you feel like you're about to die, you're right there, but you push on through. Eventually, after many more tries, I was able to finally get a run where I was actually able to somewhat be a challenge to Mother. However, in this run, I immediately lost my Holy Mantle and I was freaking out. At any moment in time, I could die. Even though my damage is really, really good and I'm doing, a significant amount to, maybe bypass any whatever is happening, the Mother is still a fight where there's a lot of projectiles and the wrong move could immediately kill me. However, in this fight with no other lives and one shot being away from death, I was able to somehow successfully defeat Mother and start getting my full completion marks with all of the other characters, starting with the Lost. And I actually have that clip of me defeating Greedier with Lost. I got Godhead. That was really fun. Now, at this point in the game, I would say, unless you're playing the special characters, most of the regular Binding of Isaac characters are pretty much the same. They have a couple of gimmicks here and there, but more often than not, most of the runs will be kind of looking similar. You're fighting a specific boss, you're using a very specific way of getting there, but more often than not, because the, play styles of every character are pretty similar, it shouldn't be too crazy unless you're playing the Lost, or if you're playing Keeper, or I don't know, even if you're playing like some of the tainted characters. So I guess this is around the time where my journey for Dead God became much more personalized, because instead of completing all of the regular completion marks with the regular characters, I decided to go into the tainted characters and go immediately into Tainted Lost. Now, for those that play Binding of Isaac, I'm sure you understand how much of a bad idea that is. For those that are completely unaware, of course, Lost, you have a Holy Mantle. If you take a hit, it comes back in the next room. What about Tainted Lost? Well, Tainted Lost is pretty similar. You have a Holy Mantle. However, if you lose it, that's it. You cannot get it back. You can get it back if you find a Holy Card, which is an item that gives you one Holy Mantle, but beyond that, you cannot get it. I'm talking about this from Repentance. I played Tainted Lost during Repentance, and I know in Repentance Plus, there's a little bit of a change to it. I believe you can get like more than one Holy Mantle on the character. However, at the time of this recording, I could not do that. I could not do that at the time of this recording. I couldn't do it. So I guess another way to put it is Tainted Lost is basically like the Lost. However, instead of having a Holy Mantle in every room, think of it more like you have a Holy Mantle just for that one run. You only have one Holy Mantle. Now, sometimes I was pretty lucky and I was able to get like a completion mark, like fight in Mega Saiyan.
I am so good at this game.
But here's the thing. I thought that if I could just get all of the completion marks for Tainted Lost, probably one of the hardest characters in the game, at least I thought at that time, one of the hardest characters in the game, then I would feel invigorated. I would come back like a prestige master entering in on Christmas noobs on Call of Duty 2012 lobbies. I would be like God himself. However, I kept dying and dying and dying and dying and dying and dying. In fact, I died so much that you cannot see the hole that's in my desk because I have a brand new mouse pad to cover it up. But this is when my Dead God percentage journey, whatever you want to call it, really slowed down.
What happened?
I'll say it right now. I'm not a man that's easily destroyed. I'm not a man that easily loses faith in himself. However, playing the Tainted Lost, playing this character really did break my soul. And for what I knew at the time, I thought this was the hardest character in the game. So I thought I could just get it over with and, just do it. Now, I will say, during the time of this recording, Tainted Lost was considerably easier to a certain degree for some parts. I know you can have more than one Holy Mantle nowadays, but back then, you could get the Book of Shadows or Glowing Hourglass, which basically makes Tainted Lost easier. I believe they removed that. However, at the time of this recording, I had it, okay? I had it. I'm not a hacker. But more often than not, I still died like 9 to 10 times out of 10. I could have a perfect run going and I just lose it all completely. Yeah, I'm going to bed. So I decided to take a break and just go back to some of the more regular characters, such as Eve. Eve is kind of like regular Isaac, except it kind of prioritizes having low HP to deal more damage. During this specific Eve run, I was targeting specifically Blue Baby and going into the chest just to get some more, unlocks and whatnot. But more often than not, I just wanted to take a break from fighting or playing as Tainted Lost. And at this point in the game, I was getting a lot more completion marks. And so I thought, hey, let's go for a special character today. Let's play one of the characters that is not like a regular Isaac character or like a little Isaac spinoff. Let's play one that is very unique. Jacob and Esau. Now, if you've played Binding of Isaac, or even if you've never played it before, just looking at these characters, you could see that you might be seeing more than one. And that's because Jacob and Esau's unique gimmick is that you control two characters instead of one. And might I remind you that both of these characters have separate separate HP, separate items, and if one of them dies, both of them die. Now, you might be thinking right now, hey, that doesn't sound that bad, Adrian. It just sounds like you got double the firepower. No, that's not the case at all, actually. Yes, you might have double the firepower, but think about it like this, right? Imagine if you had 4 arms, but your left arm and your right arm, think of them as like the same arm. Like if you moved your left arm, you're automatically moving your right arm. And the only way for you to control your left or your right arm monotonously on its own, if you just wanted to move your right arm, think of it like you have to put up your thumb up your ass in order to do so. Because that's what it feels like playing as Jacob and Esau. Yes, you're controlling 2 characters as one controller. Yes, you're doing that. Double the items. Like, oh, cool. You're doing more damage, right? Yes, but also no. Now, obviously, you can't control one of them on its own. You could, be a little bit more strategic in what you do. But just so you know, when you're first learning this character, god damn, dude, it's like learning how to drive with like an inverted steering wheel. I will say though, one of the perks of playing Jacob and Esau is that in like the alternative floors, you can take 2 items with them because you can sync them up and walk up at the same time. But more often than not, you're still going to be dying a lot with this character because you're going to hate your life. But luckily for me, I was able to get this insane run, not even knowing how much HP I have with Jacob and Esau, and we were able to defeat Mother, which I would honestly, like, I'm going to say it right now. I think Mother is one of the hardest boss fights in this game, especially for like more clunky characters, simply because there's so much things happening on the screen. There's so many projectiles that, yes, you could see them. You might know where they're coming from. You might know where to step and, dodge everything. But because we're playing Jacob and Esau, we're playing 2 characters at once. It's just so disorientating, and I was just super happy that I was able to get this one. No! Wait! Yeah! I think I died there, but I did have an extra life, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, we defeated Mother on Jacob and Esau, and that's probably the only footage I'm going to show of that fight. And, I know the other bosses are kind of whatever. Now, you might be asking, what are the other special characters, Adrian? You keep talking about another secret/special character. Well, let me show you right now. In greedier mode, if you ever fill out the greed machine up to 1,000 coins, you unlock the Keeper. The Keeper is a very unique Binding of Isaac character where instead of having regular hearts, you actually have money. But because Keeper uses money as his HP, it's kind of hard to actually survive with him sometimes. Like, yes, you are able to increase damage with him a lot, but if you get hit like me a lot, then you'll probably die. At least that's me. I have a skill issue. Oh my god. One of the coolest things about Keeper is that you're able to make a lot of money with it, and devil deals actually cost money. But more often than not, other than those special characters, they're gonna be kind of playing regularly and pretty similarly to Isaac. So now what I've started to do is I just started focusing on all of the completion marks for all of the regular characters. Right now I had the full marks for Isaac, Magdalene, Cain, and some, give or take couple of other marks for like the other characters. So now I decided to go dip my toes back into some of the other tainted characters. And I think the most fun character in all of Binding of Isaac is Tainted Keeper. Tainted Keeper is like regular Keeper, where his HP is like money. However, he is limited to 2 coin slots. And the reason being is because every enemy you kill will have the chance to drop a coin that will slowly disappear if you don't pick it up fast enough. Furthermore, shops are insane. Shops have several different items that will now cost money. And because you're able to pick up a lot of money from killing enemies, you can buy an insane amount of items. Tainted Keeper is my definition of a high risk / high reward character. Yes, you can die in 2 hits. However, if you're able to use your resources well, if you're able to pick up every single coin from every single enemy possible, you're able to get so many items that you will have no idea what you have sometimes. And just for some context, here's my Tainted Keeper run fighting Delirium. I bought so many items that my recording started tweaking out, dude, and it's just so fun. This character is so fun. It is my favorite way to play Binding of Isaac. High risk, high reward. Take the risks. Even though you might die immediately, you might end up having some of the most crazy builds ever. The next big thing I decided to revisit back was my Tainted Lost runs, and I was literally like, I was spending hours every week trying to defeat the beast on Tainted Lost, until finally I had this run where I was actually able to finally successfully defeat the entirety of the beast fight using just Tainted Lost. And so because of that, all I really needed to do for Tainted Lost was defeat greedier mode and finally Mother. And that was kind of it. And in a run pretty much shortly after, I had a pretty decent run going. I was at the Mother boss fight with Tainted Lost, and this is what happened.
I can't see anything. I can't see anything, dude. I cannot see anything. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. I can't see anything. I can't see anything. We did it? I'm getting in the... How did we do it? I swear I got hit. Wait, was it because I had blanket? Oh, baby. I didn't think I could do it today, but I did.
But yeah, we were on a groove, and looking at just our regular characters, you could see that I had a lot of the completion marks basically almost done. A lot of these characters are pretty much simple. Like I said, they're really similar to the Isaac. However, I was on a negative 28 win streak despite getting all of my regular characters completion marks completed. And there's a reason why, and that is because of the tainted characters. The first tainted character that really bothered me was Tainted Eden. Tainted Eden has a special gimmick where every time you get hit, all of the items that you pick up will be re-rolled into the pool that they're from. Now, there is a common exploit slash little trick that you can do where, you know, if you don't pick up all the items in like a specific floor and you go to the very end of the floor and you pick up that item, if it's like an angel room, then all of the previous items will be re-rolled into angel rooms and whatnot. Like, I know you could do that, but still, the overall gimmick of Tainted Eden is that if you get hit, all of your items get re-rolled. So if you get hit like 20 times, more often than not, you might be screwed. I've had several runs as Tainted Eden where I'm doing really good. My HP is maxed out to the wazoo, but sometimes you can get hit and you just get re-rolled so much to the point where you will just have no HP at all. But honestly, if you really want to have a truly random, crazy experience with a tainted character, Tainted Eden is probably up there. Like, you have completely random items, active items, HP, trinkets. If that floats your boat, then go for it, man. Now, the next tainted character that was kind of ruining my life was Tainted Cain. But as you can see from this little recording here, I actually have all of the marks for it. And there's actually a very specific reason why. Tainted Cain is one of the very few characters where you can get almost every single completion mark just from one run. Let me explain. Tainted Cain has a very unique mechanic where he can no longer pick up items. Instead, every item he picks up will be broken into several different parts, such as coins, bombs, and keys, and using his main item called the Bag of Crafting, you can craft the specific items that you want. However, if you are able to get a decently broken run, whether by finding Birthright, by finding the sack item, you're basically able to theoretically craft infinite R keys and Mama Megas, meaning you can go back, restart a run, and continuously keep recycling items and bosses until eventually you get every single completion mark. And that is exactly what I did. I did absolutely everything. When I needed to do boss rush, I would just hit the R key, use Mama Mega to open up the door, find everything that I needed, and if I needed more items, guess what? You can get like 8 coins to make like a little, I think the slot machine item, go into a secret room, craft the slot item to make it into multiple items, and then use those items to make more crafting recipes. It's like an infinite cycle. All you have to know is that Tainted Cain, if you get one good run, you can get all of the completion marks. Thus, this was a much well-deserved break, I would say. Thank goodness, man. The only thing that was a little bit out of the way was the greedier mode run. However, you know, when you grind greedier mode enough, especially with like a D20, you can eventually get whatever you need for greedier. So there it is, all the marks for Tainted Cain. Tainted Jacob, on the other hand, is one of the more tricky ones of the bunch. Tainted Jacob as a character is chased by Dark Esau, and if Dark Esau touches you one time, you become the Lost, and if he touches you again, you immediately die. Now, I will say you can use Dark Esau as kind of like a buffalo. You can kind of like shoot him at like a person, and he can do like insane damage, especially if you aim it right using your Anima Sola item. So Tainted Jacob, really, he's not really that bad, honestly. But I think the hardest part about Tainted Jacob is not necessarily managing your HP. It's more so just managing where Dark Esau is. Even if you have a really good run, even if you're doing a lot of damage, even if you have max HP, it's not going to matter. If Dark Esau touches you one time, you're going into Lost mode. From there, you're a one-shot kill. And if he touches you again, you're immediately dead. One of the nice things, though, is that you can purposely enter Lost mode to travel behind walls, to jump over, to fly over things, to take a free devil deal. There's actually a lot of perks that come with playing Tainted Jacob. But I'm telling you, 9,000 out of 9,001 tries, I will typically die playing as Tainted Jacob. But when I don't, when I'm able to defeat bosses like Delirium as Tainted Jacob, I am just filled with such a glee and a happiness in my life that genuinely, it makes me keep coming back to play this game. And of course, after, you know, several hundreds of hours of trying, eventually I was able to get all of the marks for Tainted Jacob. Now, I do want to quickly brush up on Tainted Apollyon. Tainted Apollyon is kind of like a regular character. He's a tainted character, but his abyss ability basically turns items into like this fly, which you can use to like damage things. And that's kind of it. I believe he had a rework in Repentance Plus, but more often than not, it's pretty much the same as a regular character. So he was pretty easy to get all of the marks with. Now, I might be a little bit out of order because a lot of the final things that I did for the Binding of Isaac 100% took days, if not months of progress, slowly accumulating until I finally done it. So for this section in particular, I'm going to be talking about Tainted Blue Baby. Tainted Blue Baby is a rather interesting character because, like regular Blue Baby, he can only have blue hearts, but also he uses poop to attack. Tainted Blue Baby is kind of like a magician, a mage, I would say. He drops and spawns poop, and the poop can be like different like types of abilities, like spawning fire, shooting flies out like a turret, blocking things, just straight up pooping, or just straight up farting and buffing you. This character was a really interesting, I guess, learning curve, I'd say. Like, yes, okay, you can get really good items, and I guess you could like, neglect his playstyle. But more often than not, you're actually kind of just spamming poops all the time and throwing them willy-nilly. And over time, I'm not gonna lie, he kind of grew on me. However, as one of the last characters that I did, he was a little bit of a struggle to pick up and learn. And dude, don't even get me started on playing greedier with him. Oh my goodness. Like, most of the times, like in these clips, I'm literally just lobbing poop. I'm lobbing it left and right. I'm just taking it out of my butt and just throwing it at people's faces. What can I say? It worked. It really did. But I would say if you're going for completion marks with Tainted Blue Baby, the best #1 advice that I have genuinely for you is to pray before every run. Be patient. Okay, use your poops when you get them, because more often than not, you're just gonna get more anyway. It also helps if you know what each of them do. Like I said, there's so many pooping abilities, and the bomb poop, by the way, is very special. Like, you want to hold on to that when you can. Use it to break open secret walls and whatnot. By the way, you don't have bombs. Your bombs are poop, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that. But this character is way easier than Tainted Lost. I mean, after you do Tainted Lost, it's kind of like, I don't know. I think you have to be some type of masochist to do Tainted Lost first. But eventually, I had all of the completion marks for Tainted Blue Baby, and I would say, difficulty-wise, like a 7 out of 10. And finally, I'm gonna end off this gigantic video with probably one of the hardest characters in all of Binding of Isaac, Tainted Lazarus. I think Tainted Lazarus was made as like some type of ethereal punishment from God. Like, this character is just so difficult to play. For those that don't know what Tainted Lazarus is, thank goodness, by the way, like, you want to keep that innocence. Tainted Lazarus is essentially 2 characters in one, with every single room that you go into flipping into the other character, meaning you have to manage 2 different health pools, 2 different sets of items, and your very own sanity. I have been working on my Tainted Lazarus completion marks for the better half of, I'd say, 6 months. This character is insanely brutal to master, and I would say even now, I did not master it. I got extremely lucky on most of my runs. Like, there's a reason why I'm showing highlights, okay? Highlights of Tainted Lazarus, okay? Because the lowlights, there's like 90 billion hours of that. For every 1 decent run on Tainted Lazarus, even if I die 1 decent run, that's about 20 failed runs on Tainted Lazarus. This character is unbelievably brutal. Tainted Lazarus's unique mechanic is it comes with flip, the ability to basically flip between your other self and to swap item pools, or to like basically pick which version of the character you want to do. It doesn't really help though. Like, it's not an advantage. This is still a disadvantage. You're just kind of meandering around your disadvantage. Whereas the other characters like Tainted Judas, oh, you can do more damage with this ability. Or Tainted Lilith, hey, I got this little fetus, I can do a lot of damage. Tainted Lazarus is just like, hey, I know that you're getting spearheaded in the butt with like a fist, but hey, this might make it be a little bit better. This might make it a little better. There is a pro to the flip item where you can get like more than 1 item at like a specific item room, right? Like, you could flip to the other version of your character and pick up that item as well. But that's still just very situational. And that's also just like, hey, that's considering the fact that, hey, you're just making the disadvantage slightly worse. Like, that's all it really is. Like, I'm sure if you get flip on a regular character on a regular run, hey, that actually has a little bit of sauce onto it. But more often than not, you're using flip on Tainted Laz to try to survive, not to thrive, to survive. And oh my God, don't even get me started on Ultra Greed. Oh my God. The only way that I was actually able to defeat Ultra Greed after failing several times is I would keep resetting until I got the Birthright. The Birthright of Tainted Laz basically makes it where the other version of Laz can exist at the same time as you do, and they deal like a little bit less damage than normal, but overall it increases your overall DPS. Are you serious? That was in and of itself so much harder than just going for like a regular run. Like, I feel like the perks of going on a regular run with Tainted Laz is like, hey, like, you can get really strong. It's really nice. Like, okay, you can control the rooms when you get the hang of it. But the thing with Ultra Greed is that you're flipping all the time. You're going crazy. Yes, you can reset, but reset at what? The cost of your sanity? But finally, after hours, and I mean hours, I would say months, but like, I don't even know how long I've been playing during those months, I was able to do a Ultra Greedier run on Tainted Laz successfully. And with that being said, I've unlocked every single completion mark with every single character in the Binding of Isaac, and it just looks so beautiful. And now we have to do the challenges. Now, luckily for me, the optimal strat that I have adhered to is I only saved all of the bad unlock challenges for the very end. Like I said, I only unlocked all the good items just to make my pool a little bit better. And now that I'm going for the 100%, I was like, okay, well, now I'll circle back and just do all of the really easy challenges. So a lot of these are pretty much simple. You're doing the challenge. It's not really that hard, especially the easier, earlier ones. Like, it's just genuinely super easy to do. So I was kind of breezing through for a decent amount of time. I was just unlocking and clearing all my challenges. But eventually, I started getting into some of those weird ones, like Red Redemption, where you play as Tainted Jacob and you're on an all red floor or red room, red key floor type of challenge, and you have to go down and defeat Mother as soon as possible. And I actually had a couple of close runs, but sometimes there's just a little bit too many Tainted Jacobs taking you out, and you just kind of die from the amount of chaos on your screen. But I would say more often than not, these challenges were not that bad. Like, if you kept throwing your head at the wall, more often than not, you would get it, because most of these challenges kind of give you everything that you need. And so more often than not, it's just a more tedious, I'd say, to complete these challenges. And I'd say some of them were actually kind of fun, like Hot Potato, where you're playing Tainted Forgotten and you have to throw around your exploding skull, which, by the way, does a lot of damage, so it's really fun. You can find a lot of cool, like, little tricks with these guys. Like, you can always just blow up the doors, or you can, like, do a decent amount of skipping on a lot of these challenges. But overall, I had a lot of fun. Now, yes, some of them are a little bit more trippy than others, like the TM Trainer challenge that I did right here. This was a miracle, by the way. Like, yes, some of these challenges are completely RNG based, but like I said, more often than not, that, you know, you can do it, except for one. And that, my friends, is ultra hard. Ultra hard. The hardest challenge in the Binding of Isaac. I don't even need to introduce this challenge, but hey, if you don't know what this is, you are blessed. But basically, imagine Binding of Isaac, but really, really hard. Unnecessarily hard. The only clip that I have of me defeating this challenge is the one run out of 20 where I got Book of Revelations as my first item and was able to finally have a healing factor and beat the game. Beyond that, this challenge is genuinely hell for a horrible reward. Now, even though we completed every single challenge, there's still a couple of achievements that you can actually kind of miss. For example, I wasn't really big on like rerunning and whatnot, and so after doing a couple of victory laps, I was able to get the victory lap achievement slash I don't know how to describe it. But basically, there's just a list of things that you have to do that you wouldn't really think about if you weren't going for the achievement. For example, using a blank card on the sun to get the blinding baby achievement. How about doing a lot of victory laps in a row until eventually you get butter, which I definitely should have gotten earlier. Here's another one. How about spamming a one makes you larger pill over and over and over again until you unlock huge growth? You'll notice that some of these challenges, because they're at the very end, I was able to hone in on them and do them either in greedier mode, simply because you could just reroll the shop over and over and over again. Now, here's a challenge that actually took me a while to get. Using the gulp pill several times in a run. I was able to finally get like a greedier mode run where I had placebo and gulp, so I could spam gulp over and over again to finally get, I'd say, one of the best items in the game, marbles. And then finally, I only really needed to do a couple more things, such as the daily run achievements. I actually wasn't doing that as much as I should have, but I went ahead and hopped on Repentance Plus to get the daily run plus online daily run achievement, something like that. Honestly, doing the online achievements are kind of whatever. They're just like whatever, you know, Repentance Plus. Hey, I give it to them. But even after you do the online achievements on Repentance Plus, you do have to go into your like secrets tab to actually trigger the achievements popping up. But daily runs weren't really a thing that I touched after, like, actually at all. I saved them all for the very end, so I was just cracking out daily runs to get all of the rest of the achievements until finally, after defeating every single challenge and getting every possible achievement, the last thing you need to do is you have to pick up every single item in the game at least one time. And one of the best ways to do that is to use your Eden tokens. At this point in the game, I had about 300 Eden tokens, and what's really cool about Eden is that it spawns with a random trinket, a random active item, and a random passive item. Using this, we're able to basically kind of cycle through and try to pick up any item as possible. Initially, I kept using Eden to try and find death certificates to try and, you know, pick up the items that I needed. But then eventually, I thought, hey, what if I just get a really broken Tainted Cane run and just craft everything that I needed? And so that's exactly what I did. After crafting marbles, I only needed one more item, which was the robotic baby 2.0 thing. It's from the quest reward. I don't know how I've never gotten it before, but I ended up crafting it. And upon picking it up, I got Platinum God, or the real Platinum God achievement, meaning there was only one more item for me to pick up. The last item that I needed, the final item this entire game to get the true Dead God achievement, the plum fruit. This item is an unbelievably rare item, and the only way to get it is to fight the plum baby boss and not touch it a single time. And eventually it will leave, unlocking the plum fruit item, and upon picking it up, oh, wow. 419 hours. And that, my friends, is the culmination of almost an entire year of learning Binding of Isaac completely from absolutely nothing, from understanding jack about the game at all, to hating it from my first 20 hours, to loving it in my next 100 hours. And finally, after 300 hours later, at the 420 hour mark, I was able to complete the Dead God. I want to thank each and every single one of you guys for not even just watching this video, but also supporting me on the second channel. There was over 30 30 plus episodes, and I could not have gotten as far as I did without the amount of comments not only encouraging me to keep going, but teaching me tips and tricks, how to find secret rooms, what characters are good for this, or what is the best approach to even getting the 100%. And after all of that, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, this game will go down as probably one of my favorite games of all time. This is honestly the game that I always play on my handheld. This has been the most satisfying game ever that I've 100%ed. And even after the 100%, I still come back to this game and enjoy it just because I love it. But now, before the video ends, I want to include a live segment of how I actually think when I'm trying to win a run as a brand new Dead God save file player. I feel like it's one thing to watch a Dead God save player play like their game, but also what is the thought process to winning a run? Like how is min-maxing or secret rooms and whatnot. So here's two sections, one on a Dead God save file for like a quick little like highlight of what I'm doing, but also on a brand new save file later on. Enjoy. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the bonus section of how to win every single Binding of Isaac run without a fail, maybe. So I'm gonna go ahead and go my Dead God save file. I'm gonna do a new run on a random character. I'm gonna show you all the tips and tricks that you can do if you decide to go play the game, which I highly recommend it. How do you win a run? Like, there's a lot of things I didn't go over, like secret rooms, trap doors, synergies. So I'm gonna click on a random character. Hopefully we get a good one. Now this is on my Dead God save file, so I have every item unlocked, but let's see what we get. We're gonna get Eve. Okay, so my best tip of advice is treat every single run like you will die in real life. So the way that you can find secret rooms is if you can walk here, like if there is nothing blocking this door, there could be a secret room there. Now I'm just going to try this out. It's not a secret room. There's a trick to finding more, such as super secret rooms, as we'll get into in a bit. But also you want to go ahead and go in your options and have these stats turned on. I usually play no filter on, item descriptions on, because we are playing Repentance Plus, pop-ups big, active cam on, extra HUD mini, and I do the highest or lowest HUD offset. That way you can have more visibility on what you're doing. Now I'm going to go ahead and clear out this floor. Right now we're playing Eve. I purposely put myself onto 1 HP because now we have Whore of Babylon proc. Even though we might be one shot, still a risk I'm willing to take. I'm gonna go peek in my shop as well. Nothing too good in here, although I will go ahead and blow up this statue for an increased double chance. And I found my secret room. Now here's a way that you can also find your secret rooms at a better angle. I'm gonna open up the map. If you look on the map, if you look at the top right, notice how the reason why the secret room is here is because there's multiple rooms bordering it. There's a higher chance for a secret room to exist if there's multiple rooms bordering it. Because think about it like this. Let's say there could be a secret room here. It could have been here too. And the reason how you can know is if you can go on every side, like if I can go over here, right? If there was a door here, I can access it because there's nothing blocking it. If I go down here, look over here. Oh, if there was a secret room here, I could access it, right? With that logic, you're able to find and locate more secret rooms. And I don't know if I want that item. That's not really going to help us. I'm not going to pick up that secret room item. But as a good rule of thumb, if you want to improve, clear every room. If you clear every single room on a floor, you're going to be able to basically adapt and learn better on how to move and how to dodge bullets and whatnot. I'm just going to go ahead and put this down here. Hopefully get that. Now, when you guys are going for completion marks, obviously you're going to have to, decide which boss you're going to go for. I'm going to go for like Delirium or something. So I'm going to go over here, pop this down, open that up. Yummy, yummy. Also, while you're playing, keep an eye out for tinted rocks. Tinted rocks are slightly colored differently than regular rocks, and I don't really see one right now, but tinted rocks can drop soul hearts. They can give you some other cool stuff, maybe a small rock item for more damage. But if you can't blow up stuff, blow this up. Maybe there's a trap door. Now, what are super secret rooms? Super secret rooms are like secret rooms, but instead of bordering multiple regular rooms, they can only border one. So for example, right here, if I go in this room, notice how there can't be a room on the bottom, right? Like there isn't one bordering anything. There could be a potential super secret room there. So I'm just going to check if there's a super secret down here, right? It can only border one room. Put this down. Not there. All good. Huge. Now I'm gonna go ahead and try to find a super secret room. Also, the way that you can find it is you have to line yourself up with the door. So there might be one here. I'm not gonna check there. I'm gonna go check somewhere else. Right here is a tinted rock. Notice how there's a little X on it and it's slightly different colored. I'm gonna go put a bomb right here, blow it up, boom, get a heart and a bomb. So yeah, on every floor, I'd recommend trying your best to find the secret room. Definitely 100% secret room, maybe super secret. Check out for tinted rocks and full clear. We're gonna go into the alt path just because it's a little bit harder. So it's gonna be a little bit more fun if we do it. Now we could go into a curse room, which I'm actually going to do. Curse rooms have a lot of, benefit most of the time. I'm just gonna go in and pop these pills, pheromones, maybe I can get a telepills. Nope, health down, all good. Now, there's a flipped tarot card in there. I'm gonna go pick that up. Stars. Ooh, that's a pretty good one. So the thing is though, whenever you're watching a lot of other people's plays, you're gonna notice that they're gonna have more items unlocked rather than you. One of the best things that you can do is search up what are the best unlocks in the game and then go for those unlocks. Like for example, going for Isaac's D6 item so you can have better Isaac runs. Golden bomb, that's amazing. That's one of the challenges you should do as well. There's a couple of challenges that if you do them, you can get a lot of really good unlocks like charged keys, golden bombs. I highly recommend searching those up and doing those as well. In this scenario specifically, I'm gonna pop this down and pick up a golden bomb. Golden bombs are fantastic because you can have unlimited bombs for the floor. As you can see here, it's it's a really easy challenge to complete as well. I highly recommend getting that done as soon as possible. Now with this, we can go look for secret rooms. Now let's do a little quiz. Where can the secret room be? For one, it can't border the boss room, by the way. I was thinking up here because it borders that little room with the chest and us, but you can't walk there because the ground is gone. So it probably has to be on the right side with the curse room. As you can see, I think you can walk here. I don't remember. Was that already blown up? No, it can't be here. Aha, it's down here. As you can see, this is one room that could be, you can walk here. There's a shop that we haven't gone into, but if you blow this up, it should be down here. As it is. And then with that, we can bomb in here. I'm gonna blow up the statue. That increases our devil chance if we ever lose chance. Now I can't see the items because we have Curse of the Blind. That's all right. Let's pick that up. Cool. Buy this. More options. Beautiful. As you can see, we're taking a lot of risk right now, but it's kind of paying off. More soul hearts right here. Now this will be where the super secret is, I believe, because it's only bordering one room. Yep, there it is. Beautiful. Super secret doesn't really have anything for me that I want. I'm gonna blow this up. Now I'm gonna use the stars item. So this item is a flipped tarot card. You'll eventually start unlocking this later on in the game, but I'm gonna use it right here in the secret room pool. I don't know what I got. I'm just gonna take them. Sausage, fantastic. And crack orb, fantastic. That did make us a little bit weaker, but that's okay. We're fighting Min. So because we have a lot of items in this run, I'll go ahead and also do a regular run, like a regular character is how it's normally going to go if you're like first starting out. Pop this down, a caffeine pill. Let's see what's inside. I don't really want any of these, so I'll just do a devil because they're both 1 heart, so the items are probably not that good. I'm just gonna go ahead and trade all of my HP so I can have Horror Babylon proc. I'm not gonna take anything. Take this pill. One makes you small. That's a fantastic pill because it reduces your hitbox. But as you can see right here, if you go on every floor, look for secret rooms, get extra items from the secret rooms, blow up things as much as you can, look for tinted rocks, go for every single room full clear. You should have a good run. Now, because this will be more so applying to people that never played the game, let's go ahead and do a brand new run on a completely brand new save file. So let's go ahead into file 3 where there's absolutely nothing here. I've done one run before, but there's nothing here at all. There's going to be no mods equipped. I'm going to turn them all off and let's go ahead and try this out. So let's go do a regular run on Isaac. I recommend on playing hard because hard lets you acclimate faster. We don't have any other character unlocked as well. But if you play hard, most of the unlocks that you need are on hard anyway. So let's go ahead and play this. So let's go over a basic run like I've said before, but on a brand new save file. If you can destroy every poop and destroy every fire, that helps you get money. You want to min-max as much as possible. Min-maxing is going to be the key to winning. Now, I think there's a secret room up here because it's bordering the sacrifice / curse and this big 2x2. However, now that I've entered this room, notice how you can see this like rock chunk and it's blocking where a potential door could be. Now I know my secret room can't be in there. So the search continues. I got a key for the golden chest I can open up later. I'm going to go ahead in this chest room, see what's in there. Now, when you eventually unlock item descriptions from the internal item descriptions update, eventually you'll know what these items do, but I know this is a good item, so I'm gonna go pick it up. Lead pencil shoots out like a burst of tears, which you'll see in a bit. Let's open up this item. Gold chests are fantastic for a lot of loot. Beautiful. We're already getting a bunch of keys and bombs. You want to make sure you have a couple of bombs so you can get as many secret rooms as possible. I will actually check if there is a super secret over here. I don't think so, but yeah, it's all right. Check out in here as well, see if there's anything in there. Now, I think there will be a secret room above us or below us. I think it will be above us. I'm going to full clear the floor before I make a decision because I only have a limited amount of bombs. Now, in here, if you look, notice how the pots are blocking both sides of the left and right. Like there can't be a door there normally where there should be. Because of that, we know that their secret rooms cannot be in there. So that's the logic I'm trying to impart on you guys right now, which is why it's important to full clear the floor. So there could be a super secret up here. I think it is actually up there. Beautiful. I knew that because only one room is bordering that because it's a little elbow. You can tell the difference between super secret because it's a little bit darker. I'm gonna go pick this up. Ooh, Guppy's tail. I'll take that. Now in here, notice how the rocks are blocking the bottom and the top, meaning that there can't be secret floors up there. Notice how I'm trying to get that across, right? I don't see any tinted rocks in here. So I'm gonna go over here. Now look at all the bordering we have here. There could be a secret room down here. Like I've said before, there could be one on our left as well. It can't be on our right over here because like I said, the rock is blocking that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a little bomb down there. Our secret room is not there, meaning it's probably over here. It's not over there. Could be on the left of our treasure room. It could be down here. Bingo, right here. So there's this door or this room and the treasure room. We're gonna put this down. There it is. So that's the thought process. Obviously, it's gonna take some practice. Sometimes you might have to go through every single floor. Sometimes the rule doesn't always follow. That's typically how you can find the secret rooms. I went ahead and explored the entire floor as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the boss. I will say runs in the beginning may be easier because, well, you don't have every single boss unlocked and all the hard parts of the game unlocked. However, because you don't have as much items or challenges done, it makes the game a little bit harder. We're keeping some distance, looking at his shadow to make sure that he doesn't stomp on us. I got hit because I'm a stupid. Eventually, you'll start learning the boss patterns as well. Like Monstro does a burst of bullets like that when he does a specific animation. I know when to look out for this part. Keep a good distance away, and boom, dead. Got some HP ups, which is fantastic. I have red heart HP. I'm gonna go in here. What's in here? A soul heart. Now, here's a little trick you can do. You can push this chest around and push the heart. So I'm gonna go ahead and push the heart up. I don't know if I'm gonna do this trick right, but normally if you pick up the soul heart, you're still gonna take soul heart damage when you go out and you can't replenish soul hearts. However, if you go ahead and maybe move it out of the way, I'm gonna damage myself on the door, pick up the soul heart and leave. And that way I will have the full soul heart, but take red heart damage. So
There we go. Beautiful. So those are little tricks that you can do that will definitely help your run. It's all about min-maxing. If you min-max, use your resources right, you'll be able to afford more items at the shop, which is overall just more DPS most of the time. Finding all your secret rooms, you can find more items in the secret rooms. There's more utility. There's more items you can pick up. You want to take your time as you play. You want to, fill out every floor, and then you'll win every single run. And at the end of the day, even if you're taking an extra 20 minutes to win a run, if you lose an unprepared run, that's like 20 minutes lost. Beautiful. Oh, Tears up. Tears up are one of the best things that you can get because tears up is increasing your fire rate. There's a hard tears cap, as some people will call it, where you can increase your tier cap up to, I believe, 5, but then no more than 5, I believe. It's 4 or 5. I think it's 5. At that point, you can eventually break the tears cap with like specific items and whatnot. That's a little bit too complicated. But our main stats that we want to increase are like damage, tier cap. Everything else is kind of like supplemental stuff like range or movement speed. Movement speed is also very good though. I'm gonna go pick up this HP as well. Got a bomb. Nice. I'll also look for secret rooms in a bit. Also keep an eye out for tinted rocks because I do need keys. We have a lot of golden chests on this floor. And I want to go in the item room and into the all right, so here's what I can do. I can bomb the top for this chest and maybe get more bombs out of it as a gamble. I'm gonna try that. Give me some bombs, and I got equality, which is a trinket. Okay, well that's a problem because nothing else on this floor is taken. That's okay. We'll just do the boss and hopefully a key will drop. Please give me latch key. I got a new item. I did not get a latch key. I got cat o' nine tails and a devil deal. This is a good devil deal item. I'm actually going to take both of them. So unfortunately we didn't have enough keys to get all the chests and whatnot, which is why I can't min-max more here. I don't have enough bombs to look for a secret room as well. There is that room downstairs with a key, it says on the map. There's a chest, key, and a coin. That's what the icons mean. However, I don't have any bombs to get them, so I can't go in there. You're in caves 1. Let's continue. Can't open that. Also, keep in mind, chest with blood on the right is a spike chest. You will take damage if you open it. I'm sure you guys will probably figure that out on your own eventually. Now, I am playing on a controller. I know some people play on PC. Totally fine. I think both playstyles work. I played dead. Like, I got my dead god just from using my controller, so I don't think it really matters what you use. I do think playing on your PC, like your keyboard, will give you more like accuracy and whatnot, but I like playing on my controller because it's a little, calm and fun. Destroy all the poops because sometimes it can drop stuff. Coins and a key. Beautiful. A key. So by the way, just looking at this room, you can tell that there's going to be no secret rooms bordering, and I shouldn't use a bomb here because look, if I walk up, this gap is blocking the door, and if I go on the left, this gap is also blocking that potential door. Can't be on the right either by that logic. It could be on the left, right? I can walk over here if I wanted to. I can walk up here if I wanted to, as I said. But it definitely can't be because this room right here, even though it's bordering this one, this is a skinny room. Secret rooms cannot border skinny rooms unless it's up here. Could be up here. I don't know, actually. I don't forgot. Let me test it out. Can it be up here? I don't think so. Yep, that's all right. But it can't be on my right. Could be down here. It can't be up. Might be down here. It could be over here. I think it's over here. I think it's bordering this. It is. So yeah, understanding how secret rooms work is going to be the fastest thing that you can do to skyrocket like your run-winning potential. Now, these rooms on the right are like challenge rooms. There's 2 types of challenge rooms. There's boss challenge rooms where you fight bosses, and this one you fight 3 waves of enemies. You can go ahead. The way that you trigger it is you open up that chest. I'm actually going to do that after I open up my item room. Go ahead in here. Magic finger. It costs money to deal damage. Not bad, but I don't want to use it. I'm also going to put a bomb down here because you can blow up mushrooms for items like pills and also a potential item that could spawn later. So I'm going to put this up, and I got more pills. They're mystery, amnesia, that sucks, and speed down, that sucks a lot. So yeah, pills are hit or miss. It's very 50-50 on they're good or if they're bad. They're very 50-50 on if they're good or bad. However, most of the time it is leaning to good by a small percentage. Go in the shop, see what's inside. Eraser, I don't want that. That item erases enemies once per floor, I believe, so they don't appear for the rest of the run, which is actually really cool. Now, since I have amnesia, I cannot see the map, meaning I'm probably not going to throw my... I don't know if I got my super secret yet, but I'm just going to ease up on that. Got a key right there. Also, when you clear more rooms, you're able to get more rewards, which will in theory give you more ways to win. And we got a 9 lives. So this item right here is fantastic. It's a guppy room item from red chest. I got a new item from that. Cool. This allows you to get 9 lives. So if you die, you can resurrect yourself. This is a fantastic item to have, actually, especially for beginning runs. It'll help you basically have survivability as well as take more devil deals if you want to. Now here's a trick you can do. I'm gonna go kill this boss. Ooh, this boss is rough. And we're doing good damage there. We got backstabber and pencil. Backstabber's giving that like bleeding effect, and the pencil is shooting out that burst just now. Right. Give me a devil deal. I did get it. Now synth oil is good. I'm gonna save this right here. So here's what I'm gonna do. Brimstone's a very fantastic item, but I'm going to die if I pick it up. Normally, if you walk in, you'll take damage, but you can do a crossword puzzle, like slip past. Now, if I pick this up, this will kill me. However, I can pick it up. It's going to kill me. Because I have 9 lives, I will die, but respawn, and now I will still have this. Now I will pick up this heart. And now I have a brimstone, which is one of the best devil room items that you can get. It kills a lot of synergies, but initially when you're first playing, this is a very powerful item that you can get, which is more often than not going to be a run winner. Now this right here is a boss challenge room door. These are very good because they have items inside of it. The way that you open it though is you need to have 1 heart. So I'm just going to head and get down to 1 heart. Now, this door is open. You can go inside, see if the item is worth it. This is going to increase my damage, so I'm going to go ahead and take it. As you can see, our damage is fantastic right now. Watch out this guy. I am close to dying, but I have 9 lives, so something to... Ow, that's dead. Okay, I'm gonna throw a bomb over there to do some more extra damage if I really needed to. Beautiful. Got a golden chest for that. Give me some HP. I got Hanged Man, which just gives me flight. But yeah, notice how as we're going through these floors, the more you min-max, the more resources you'll have to do more stuff. And that's what you want to be able to do in your runs. The more options you can do, the more bombs you'll have, right? The more bombs you'll have, the more secret rooms you'll theoretically get. Like I mentioned before, I'm going to go ahead and try to find my secret room. If I can find my secret room, I can try to get more items from there, right? Min-max a little bit. I'm trying to practice what I'm preaching. I think this is a secret room, actually. It borders. It is not, unfortunately. It could be above this room. It could be. Let me try it out. Put that down. It is. Pills. I'm gonna bomb this so I can increase my double chance. But yeah, every floor you want to find your item room, find your shop, full clear as much as possible. I'm gonna go in here. What's inside? Anarchist cookbook. This is actually nice. This actually summons bombs in the room, and you could actually kind of use that to save up on bombs. So like, for example, I'm gonna pop this. It's gonna blow up that donation machine, and now with that, I got extra money that I can use for like a shop. And there we go. Little Chubby has appeared. We're getting a bunch of items. Got crackjacks for more HP. And let's go to the next floor. So as you can see, this is kind of my thought process as I go. And obviously, as you unlock more items, more things will happen. But like to be as general as possible, if you're playing for the first time, this is probably how most of your runs are going to go. I'm going to go ahead and put bomb down here, blow this up, get some soul hearts out of that. Open this up as well. I'm going to go ahead and pop Anarchist cookbook in here because I want to blow up these rocks. If you blow up some rocks, there could be a trap door underneath, which could give you an extra item. Or maybe there's a tinted rock. Now, whenever you do get cards, I do recommend, or any items or things that you don't want to use yet. Like for example, Hanged Man. This will give me the type. This will give me the ability to fly. I could have used that earlier, but I saved it for a situation like this. I don't want to take damage. I'm going to pop it. I can fly now. I can only fly in this room, but now because of that, I just got a whole bunch of stuff. Now with that, I can open up this chest. A whole bunch of stuff. Don't just waste your things. Like really try to min-max as much as possible. Save everything until you really need it. Ooh, bingo. I can go in the shop. Oh my God, restock. So restock is a cool item. It's half off. I can keep buying stuff and they keep restocking. Also, we have a lot of money. I'm going to go ahead and throw in a donation. Like I said before in the main video, you want to increase your donation stuff because this will help you unlock your shop and also unlock items as well. There we go. And it got jammed. So now you can't even upgrade or put more coins into it. Just try to fill out your donation machine as soon as possible, right? Now here's a really cool trick. You can throw a bomb over here. Oh, it's going to kill them. You can throw a bomb and if they eat it, they blow up. Very cool. Here's also another trick you guys could be getting used to. Putting a bomb and like pushing it. Ow. You can use bombs as damage, which is fantastic. So like, look, put a bomb, flick it over, bam, put a bomb, flick it over, bam, right? You can also use it on like troll bombs especially, and you can use those to like open secret doors for free if you really want to. There's a lot of applicability with it. Any cool stuff? Yeah, sure, I'll take it. Too much HP anyway. We're almost at the end of our run because this is a very beginner, you know, Binding of Isaac run. But for you guys, it'll probably take a while to actually get used to the game, right? Dodging everything, picking up items, looking out for things to find, min-maxing, right? But a good rule of thumb is, well, if you're... Ooh, world. I can now see the entire floor. That is very nice. Rule of thumb is... try out everything, right? Try out every item. You'll never know what could work together. And the fastest way to learn is to experiment and try everything out for yourself, right? I'm gonna put a bomb down here because there's a secret room here. Beautiful. Anything funny inside? 48-hour energy, infested, and speed up. Beautiful. Batteries, by the way, recharge your active item, which is the item on your top left. Go in here. Ooh, cancer. But yeah, like look at this run, a beginner run with no items unlocked. And on my first run ever, I'm able to kind of not even just dodge everything, but like even if I was getting hit, which I was able to get so many resources, find so many items, and it worked out. And also I did get brimstone, but yes, there's luck in the run, but also you need to see the opportunities to do everything. There's opportunities in every single run to break it, to have a good run, to do whatever on it, you know. Let's go ahead and kill this. And there we go, our first ending on a brand new save file, and hopefully you guys can get that soon and keep going to unlock the womb and more bosses and whatnot like I've talked about in this video. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. You know, this game is huge. I know I missed a lot of information. There's so much that you can do in this game, and I think that's one of the best parts about it. But if you've never played Binding of Isaac, 100% check out this game. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and it's been Adrian, guys.